Hello, and welcome to a very fast introduction to Virginia's Medicaid waiver programs. This is Lucy Cantrell with the ARC of Virginia. We will cover what waivers are, the two types of waiver programs that most people with disabilities use, what the waiver services are, and how to apply. First of all, what is a Medicaid waiver? It is the long-term support system for people of all ages who have long-term care needs, and many people with a developmental disability have those long-term care needs. Waivers offer a menu of services and supports that are individualized to the person's needs. There are numerous waiver services in areas such as personal care, respite, employment and day services, residential, nursing, crisis, and much more. So why are we going to look at waivers? They offer a menu of services designed to be like a one-stop shop for most people, even with a wide range of needs. It offers lifelong supports, and very important, it's the only public funding stream for ongoing support services. The two waiver programs in Virginia for people with developmental disabilities are the Developmental Disability Waiver, and the other is the Commonwealth Coordinated Care Plus Waiver. There are lots of words in the world of waivers. So under the Developmental Disability Waiver, you will see that there are three subtypes of waivers. For the Commonwealth Coordinated Care Plus Waiver, you may have heard it referred to as the EDCD or the TEC waiver. Those two waivers were combined in 2017, and now it's just the Commonwealth Coordinated Care Plus waiver. Let's just briefly compare these two waivers. For the DD waiver, the individual must have a developmental disability diagnosis. In the CCC Plus waiver, you need a disability diagnosis and a medical need. The DD waiver has a very robust menu of services, over 35, compared to the CCC Plus waiver, which has far fewer services and does not include services for employment or residential services. So in the CCC Plus waiver, if a person needs 24/7 services, that is not available through the CCC Plus waiver. There is a wait list for the DD waiver. There is no wait list for the CCC Plus waiver. Now we're going to focus only on the DD waiver program and the services it provides and the application process. But if you want more information about the CCC Plus, you can find that information on the ARC of Virginia's website. The DD waiver services fall into some broad categories such as employment and day services, residential services, crisis, medical, and a pretty long list of others that are additional options. In residential services, here are just some examples of a few of the services. This is not an exhaustive list. I hope your takeaway from this is that there are a lot of services with a lot to offer. Some of the services are listed above. In-home residential is a one-to-one staff to individual skill building service in the areas of skills in the home and skills needed in the community. Independent living with supports are for adults who need varying levels of support to live in their own home apart from parents. Group home and sponsored residential offer up to 24-hour support. Under employment and day options, just a few examples: support employment, help getting a job, job training, community engagement, how to be more involved with your community outside of your home. Group day services are people who may not be working full-time or may not be working at all, but they have activities to do during the day. There's medical and behavioral support such as nursing, behavioral prevention, crisis and intervention, and personal emergency response system. Kind of think Life Alert. And there's so much more, which you see listed on the slide: personal assistance, environmental modifications, electronic home-based services, think smart home. So for a complete listing of services and descriptions, go to this link that you see below you right there. Let's look at the eligibility requirements for the developmental disability waiver. There are 3 criteria: diagnostic, functional, and financial criteria. To meet the diagnostic requirement, the person must have a developmental diagnosis, and to be a developmental disability, it must be some sort of chronic disability that occurs before the age of 22. It must be caused by a condition other than mental illness. This does not mean that the person can't have mental illness, but they must have some other condition that is a developmental disability. The individual must need lifelong or extended individually planned services. Likely the disability is going to continue indefinitely, and the disability causes limitations, significant limitations in 3 of the areas listed below. These are typical life activities: self-care, use of language, learning, mobility, self-direction, capacity for independent living, and economic self-sufficiency. And here are just some examples of developmental disabilities, of conditions that might be a developmental disability. You've probably heard of most of these: autism, cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, intellectual disability, includes epilepsy, Down syndrome. So again, just some examples. The functional criteria. Think about what kind of help a person needs to perform skills in the areas of managing their health, communication, task learning skills, personal and self-care, mobility, behavior, community living skills, and that financial and self-sufficiency. Think about what the person needs compared to a person without a disability. So, to meet the criteria, you must have functional needs in 3 out of the 8 categories above. And this is measured on an instrument that's called the VIDES, V-I-D-E-S. Okay, let's look at financial. This is really important because a lot of people think that, oh, anything with Medicaid, you have to be a very modest means. But waivers, remember, parent and family income and resources never count. There is no resource limit for children. However, for adults, there's a monthly income cap of $2,313 per month, and the person may not have any more than $2,000 in other resources. So very important for people to understand that. The application process. To apply for a DD waiver, you do not already have to have Medicaid. However, once the person is assigned a waiver, that means they're given a waiver, then a Medicaid application must be submitted if they don't already have Medicaid. To apply for a DD waiver, the screenings and the application process starts with your local community services board. But a really important note that I like for individuals and families to heed is that unless you're already familiar with the application process for the DD waiver, it is strongly recommended that before you request that screening, that you learn about the process by attending a training, contact the ARC of Virginia, or visit our website where we have step-by-step instructions and tips so that you will know what to expect and how to go through the screening process. To find your local community services board, you've got the website link right there for you. Good and bad news. As we said earlier, the DD waiver has a wait list, but the good news is that waivers are awarded based on need. It is not a chronological wait list. And if you're on the wait list, you may apply for funds. These are called the IFSP funds, and adults are eligible to apply for a housing voucher. Need more information? Here's some places that you can go and check out and read more about waivers. We have websites. There's a DD waiver hotline, and you could also contact your local community services board. So thank you. I hope this has been helpful. And if you need help getting started, be sure to be in touch with us. Thank you. Bye.